stunned. We're still kind of bumfuzzled as to how we arrived at this place. Everybody's got a theory. You're reading all of them, hearing all of them now. It can be a bit overwhelming. But where do you start? And what's real and what's just angst? What's true is they're 0-2, and most of the goals that they had for the season realistically are off the table. But you got to keep playing football games. There's a lot of football to be played. By the way, I'm Jeff. That is Tom. On Twitter, it's @JCameron Show. Thanks to all of you listening to the program and to all of you who are in the chat and those watching on Warchant TV. We appreciate you. You know, we've had bad seasons, and we've talked our way through those and kind of worked it out. We've had great seasons, celebrated together in those, and a whole bunch in between. I do, and I will continue to say, that I feel like this is a more unique situation than any of those that I'm referring to. It is, and it may be the byproduct of a shift in college football, and we won't know for some time, but I think there is some evidence to that. By the way, George asked in the chat, 3-hour show today. It's not. It's going to be Monday. We're starting clean. We're starting clean on a Monday at the request of the radio side. They want an opportunity to change all the clocks and to do some things, and they want to start fresh on a Monday. There's more to it than that, but that's the bottom line, and it makes more sense. We'll start clean on a Monday. JCS will be back to 3 hours on Monday. Today's 2 hours. Tomorrow's 2 hours. Friday's 2 hours. Anyhow, in that time, I don't think we're going to be able to solve what ails this team. Now, that is Mike Norvell's job. But even, I got to tell you, like, I'm wondering what he thinks they can be. And he's got to wrestle with a lot of things right now. There are consequences for moving on from certain players. And there are also consequences for not moving on from certain players, right? We all know the highest profile of those players is DJU. If you made a change at quarterback, that would be a significant shift in direction for the season. And it'd be, that'd be something, but it's something that's also got to be on the table. Some of the issues that you might view as a systemic issue or something that is a staff issue, a problem within the coaching staff, that can't really be addressed until the offseason. That's what's tough about getting off to this kind of a start. There is no magic fix that's going to make this pain go away and make them look exceedingly better. They certainly can be better. They certainly can play better. They can certainly play with more intensity and focus, and they can be more buttoned up, and they can execute better. They can do a lot of things. But, man, I do wonder how much better they can be. They're going to have to decide on something, though, and it would start at quarterback in my eyes. I think he would have to make the decision. I think ideally you would make it during a bye week. I know the thought is that you wouldn't go that direction until you had no chance to win the league or no chance to make the playoff. I mean, in theory, you still have a chance to do that. You could somehow muster together a 9-win campaign, and all of a sudden if things bounce right, maybe you're in the ACC championship game. I doubt it. I don't think it's going to happen. There's no evidence that this is going to happen. I understand that. But I'm just talking about percentages and chances and what's still available to you. There's an outside shot. He could figure something out. They could rectify some things and find a way to win some football games here, and that maybe it's not the time to start the youth movement. But given what I've seen at certain positions from some of the veterans, if you think you've got an uber-talented youngster, as in a true freshman, and they're physically capable of handling the rigor, I would start to look at those young receivers, for example, Tom. I would think that if Elijah Moore knows the playbook, I'd think about playing him.
It's an interesting position to be in two ways, because number one, you're asking, I wonder what he thinks about this team and what they can be. Well, the last time he thought about what this team could be, he was dead wrong. So
Right.
he's got to look back on a sequence of events in the offseason, the feedback he was getting from everybody from strength staff to assistant coaches to his own assumptions based upon the film he was looking at. And they can work with the players in the summer now. This is not the old days where there were player-only practices that were, not mandatory. They were voluntary workouts. They can get on the field and work with these guys and put their hands on them in the sense of seeing what they're doing, what their offseason's been like, and get them prepped to be better prepared for fall camp. So at every step of that path from the offseason when spring was done to now, he thought they were going to be something that they weren't. So he's also got to look inside before he can assess what it is they're capable of. He's got to say, how did I have it so wrong? How is it that I have that expression on my face in the second quarter of Monday night's game where I look like I don't know where I am in time, in space? Not just what this team is. I don't know where I am. I don't know what this is. He's never had that look here before. He's been pissed or maybe slightly confused or perturbed with officials or perturbed with a player, but never fundamentally confused about existence. And that's what this team has brought him to. So that's number one. The second part is when he was asked the question in the postgame about, are you considering a quarterback change? He didn't answer the question, which says a lot in and of itself, because a lot of times a coach in that moment will say, I don't understand the nature of that question. DJ's our quarterback, or insert name here as our quarterback.
No, he didn't exactly.
No, he bought himself
come
time.
racing to his defense.
No,
right.
Correct. He bought himself time. So by omission, that tells me a lot. That not only, yes, he's considering a pitching change. I was just looking at your T-shirt there. It's a nice one.
Oh, the Skeens shirt.
Day.
Yeah,
he's
got a win last night.
A quarterback change. There's more to it too, and there's a lot behind the scenes. That's the other part of it. I don't think Nick Saban and NFL scouts got it wrong with how much talent is potentially on this roster. So when talent doesn't perform, why? When talent does not live up to its billing, its size, its strength numbers. Mike Norvell said often that the reports from Josh Storms are this is the most explosive offseason.
Oh, he thought they were the biggest and strongest and fastest team that he had ever had. He said that.
It reminds me of Fisher before 16 when he says, I know we've got a lot of combine all-stars, but I don't know that we've got football players here. But look, those numbers are real. So what's the disconnect?
Yeah.
How are you not getting that? And that's the answer in there is never a pretty one. And I don't know exactly what it is, but he's got to find that answer before he can assess what they're capable of doing after this bye week.
It's weird because I think it's a little bit of both. I don't think they're all that talented. Like, I don't think the wide receivers are all that talented, Tom. I don't think, Benson had never done anything at Alabama. And he's not getting separation currently. When I watch him, they're covering him in man.
But by nature, Alabama recruited him, so he can't be crap.
He could be. I mean? He could be. Everybody whiffs. Everybody whiffs.
Well, then Alabama would have before us. So.
Right. No, the point is, but they may have whiffed, and he was readily available. He came here. He'd never really done anything at Alabama. He's not doing anything here right now. He may just not be that good. I'm not saying he can't play football, but I don't think he's a game changer. He doesn't appear to be a game changer. He's not like a one that you teams are scheming. Clearly, teams are not scheming to try to shut him down. They're not having to worry about it. When Boston College and Georgia Tech go to man on your receivers and just try to take away the run and stack the box, I mean, they're kind of telling you they don't think you have a difference maker at wide receiver.
They are, but this is, it's almost like, where do you start the argument? Because it's all connected.
Is it the quarterback or is it the receiver? Right. No, I know.
Mike Norvell did say in the post game, and I believe in the Monday press conference following Georgia Tech, I guess it was a Wednesday presser, that the deep shots were there. The calls were made. And again, that's a statement in and of itself where you're talking about a disconnect. Because to me, that sounds like a coach who says, I made the calls. He's got to make the throw. Now, the All-22 tells the truth, and so do the rules within the offense. Like, the All-22 can even tell you that somebody's open. But it doesn't tell you what the call is, what the progression is.
Right.
And that's where only the coach and the quarterback can know.
Yeah.
And if he does make a change, that tells you that it's more than just about, I need a spark. It's that he doesn't see it the way I see it. And that's going to be important too.
Okay, so, Craig, you can't have it both ways. You can't say we can't recruit, which means we don't have good players, and then say it's all coaching. I mean, I think that there is a bit of a dearth of talent here. I believe that they're not nearly as talented as we thought they would be, or more importantly, I might add, than he thought they would be. They don't all suck. We're talking about degrees, levels of talent. After a 13-0 season and a 19-game win streak at one point, you think that you're in the upper echelon of talent. I don't think they are. And I worried about that. I thought there was one takeaway. The only legitimate takeaway from the Florida State-Georgia bowl game was that Florida State's depth, because they were all backups, didn't belong on the field with Georgia's players even when they went to their backups. It didn't look like it wasn't similar. Those athletes weren't. And we talked about that after the game. I'm like, I'm throwing the result away. I know why that happened. But I thought that would be eye-opening to Mike. Like, I got to get better players in here. I got to get a better depth of players. See, this is what's weird. This might have always been inevitable to a certain degree. And it was only brought out by the loss of not only really good players, but the mistake in evaluation. So Mike thinking he could turn DJ into something he hasn't proven to be in his college career yet. Mike believing that a wide receiver that hadn't really produced all that much at a previous stop could come in here and be an immediate difference maker. Mike thinking that, whatever, right? We can go player by player. The portal gets this offseason. We could go player by player if you want. It ain't pretty as of right now. Okay. So you would say, well, he misevaluated those players, and now these are the repercussions when you don't hit home runs in the portal every time. Because prior to this, his hit rate was massive. And people would argue, well, that can't be sustainable, can it? Well, our thought was, why not? Why not? And I bring this up for a couple of reasons. If you're really good at evaluating talent and you get the yeses from the Jermaine Johnsons of the world and Jared Verses of the world and Braden Fisks of the world, all of whom are playing in the NFL and were really good players, and you're able to procure the services of a Keon Coleman, who is by all accounts about to have a great rookie season, according to what Buffalo has seen in camp and what we saw in preseason, and you're able to get these kind of upper echelon NFL-type talents to say yes to Florida State, then you can sustain that and be excellent. You can win 13 games and lose none. You can do that. But if you whiff on some of those guys and you haven't been elite in the high school recruiting, and they haven't, and we can get into arguments about why that is, but they haven't had an elite class yet, not one. So when you whiff on the current crop that you bring in that you thought would help sustain that level of excellence, you're kind of screwed. Now, I don't believe that that is necessarily a damning indictment of the process or the whys. Like, what else was he going to do? He had to find a way to win enough games to avoid being fired. We go back to the 10-win season. Before that season, I said he was a dead man walking if they didn't win 9 to 10 games. Because, and I described the avalanche effect, which was what we're seeing with Billy Napier. He's got zero chance now. He's done. The window has closed for Billy. They can't get out from under the mountainous level of suck that they have shown. Like that, it's no longer sustainable. You're not going to get recruits. But at some point, they're going to be like, well, Jesus, they've lost for 4 years in a row. I just can't say yes. I don't care how much money you throw at me. I'm going to pick somewhere else that's throwing money at me because they haven't lost 4 years in a row. So you have to have proof of concept. Well, all right, I get the circumstances surrounding Mike's first year, and you got a ridiculous situation with COVID, and then you go 5 and 7. You haven't really been able to recruit because you couldn't even go on the road and meet people and talk to coaches and get recruits. So what was he going to do? He had to win games, so he had to go the portal route. He correctly identified a quick fix. He correctly identified, you know what? I know how to coach football. If I had some good players, we'll win some games. I think I can get these guys to win some football games, but I got to get better. I got to raise the floor of what's possible here. I got to have a certain requisite level of talent that gives me a fighting chance to win these games. Because I'm coaching my ass off right now just to try to go 5 and 7, 6 and 6, because we're not good enough. So I'm going to go get this guy and this guy and this guy. And you know what? If I look at them, if I evaluate that tape and I interview that young man and he buys into what I'm telling him he has to do upon his arrival, he's got to be more than just a player. He's got to be a leader. He's got to buy in for the culture purposes that I'm trying to build right now. If they say yes, I'm taking him. I'm taking him. And then they got really fortunate because you ended up with a really, really good collective that understood how to do this. And the two worked really hard together. And we got a lot of good players from it. And we won a lot of games. And we all sang Kumbaya. And that's a great thing. I don't blame him for doing it. But maybe this moment was inevitable once you went that route. And that now there's maybe unnecessary. There is always the unintended consequences of certain things that you do. So maybe now, okay, there's an adjustment. You're like, okay, I can't afford. Listen, it's not like any coach doesn't miss. We just got done talking about a coach who's considered the greatest coach of all time. I think having whiffed on a few guys that we might have brought in. I mean, Sean Murphy ain't exactly out here kicking ass. He was an Alabama recruit. He was never going to play for them. He missed. I mean, everybody does. So we misevaluated this particular crop of portal players. Not that they can't play. I don't want to make it sound like they don't have any ability, but they're clearly not huge difference makers the way that a Verse was, the way that a Braden Fisk was, the way that, obviously a Keon Coleman was, especially when he was healthy. I mean, you kind of this is what you had to deal with if you were going to miss at any point. Then these cracks in the armor were going to be shown.
Well, I think the miscalculation is on how close they were without the portal. With it, because you're saying by going to get DJU and these guys that, look, if I bring in a half dozen starters, we're going to go right back to Charlotte. That's the calculus, and he's wrong about that clearly. But I'm not going to do the thing where I believe that the portal is not valuable or the portal.
But that's why I said what I said.
But this thing, so
I'm not saying it's not valuable. We just won a lot of games because of the portal.
Yeah, but I don't think it was inevitable if you keep dipping into the portal because the best programs in America are doing so, and Dabo at Clemson's getting ripped for never doing it. I think there is a line to walk.
Oh, no. I wasn't saying that you were. I was saying. Well, I want to make it abundantly clear. Let's keep talking here. I'm not saying he was wrong to do it. He was right to do it. I'm not saying it doesn't serve a huge purpose. It served an awesome purpose. They won 19 games in a row and went 13-0. It served them well. What you can't do if you're going to do it is miss.
Correct. Well, or not have a ramp-up period where your high school players are ready to go.
And
that's where I agree with you. The high school recruiting
hasn't been great.
It's not been up to Florida State standard.
Not at all.
It's not. It's arriving there slowly. It's arriving there. The crop of high school players that we're bringing in have improved every year. They have, but not quick enough to where there isn't a dependence upon the portal to get where you're going. Now, the decision that was made in December and January was, how close am I to a 10-win season and a chance at the ACC championship, which is an automatic berth? They thought very close. So much so that even after they brought the guys in, they're all bragging. They're all bragging about what it is that they're capable of doing this year. And then they show up and there's no substance to it. And that's the other hard part here is, did your culture leave the weekend of the NFL draft? Did they all walk out the door and then go get phone calls from different GMs around the country to go play on Sundays? And they took the culture with them, the core principles where we were watching the hand-me-down of a tradition here with guys who were here for 10 minutes, like Jermaine Johnson and Kier Thomas. They paved the way to get Jared Verse here.
Correct.
And Jared was here on recruiting weekends leading up to the most recent signing days. And portal kids coming into town saying, look, this is what this group's about. Braden Fisk was here to talk to the next wave of players. Did it magically disappear with them? That's the tough question to answer, because when you're seeing the inconsistencies in emotion that Mike Norvell is talking about and that lack of toughness that Mike Norvell is talking about, that is the dangerous part here.
Well, okay.
My whole thing is, philosophically, when you're talking about roster building, I wouldn't walk it all the way back and say that we're going to overpay or we're going to pay market value or above for 17 and 18-year-old skill position players who aren't going to play for 2 years. I like the portal approach better, where you have a better sense of what these 20 and 21-year-olds can do against grown men.
If you're doing better in your high school recruiting, though, you can't be bringing in the 19th ranked or the 15th ranked or that's not bad. You can be a top 25 team, but if you're trying to be elite, if you're trying to win national championships, Certainly nobody would argue that we've recruited better than Boston College and Georgia Tech.
Oh, agreed.
So, I mean, come on.
From the coaching staff to the coordinators to the position coaches to the top flight players, all compensated. You can now loop the players in the compensation argument. You are well paid to not suck.
Right. And so,
especially when you're taking on those two programs.
And it's very nuanced, though. And I think we're all, and this is true, it happens in politics. It happens when anything is an irritant, anything bothers you in your house. Like even you might argue with a brother or a sister or a spouse or a loved one of any kind. Like when there's a grading issue that is affecting the family negatively, the quick fix approach is what everybody wants because it gets you out from under the pain. So you're just like, well, why don't we just do this? And nobody can like admit, it's not that simple, Johnny. We're going to have to do about 15 things. This was a long time in the making. We've got to really analyze our processes here and figure out, are we as buttoned up as we need to be in several areas? That's how we arrived at this place. 100% he had to use the portal. He was right to use the portal. There are going to be many more portal successes for him in the future. In fact, it looks like he's going to have to go right back to it.
Yes, he will.
But this is at some point kind of a cycle you don't always want to be in because there are repercussions for when you miss. You don't have enough built up from the high school ranks that have been ingrained in a culture that you've been building through their freshman year, their sophomore year. Now they're ready to play their junior year, the traditional method. You don't have enough.
Yeah, I think this is the decision being made in the margins here. I think that's what we're talking. It's a tweak to the philosophy because here's the other thing. Their hit rate on portal guys in terms of culture additions.
Oh, it's been awesome.
Astronomical.
Right.
These guys don't come in and you get the sense that, oh man, this dude is here. He's checking in, checking out. This is like a hotel stay. No, these guys come back to campus. These guys want to be a part of his program. So they vetted very, very well. And these guys came in and added to the culture. They weren't net neutral with the culture. So
I also don't think that I can 100% say that they have a culture problem. Like I'm not assuming they have a culture problem. That's what everybody else is assuming. I'm hearing that. I'm reading that everybody's going to pile on now that you're bad. It didn't help that Florida State played both these games in a singular on an island national broadcast. I mean, it sucks that your two moments of absolute buffoonery happened with the whole country watching. So everybody's got a take now because they all saw it. It wasn't buried by 19 other games being played simultaneously.
Yes, the issue is, though, you can see it. You can feel it, whether you're in the stands or watching on television, that somebody on that – most of the guys on the field are looking to somebody to go make a play and take the moment.
What happens when you lose your confidence?
So is it a culture issue, confidence issue, a leadership void, a combination of all three?
Oh, I think we could check a lot of boxes here. Look, I've been critical of the linebacker coach. Do our linebackers look well coached? I don't think so. So in that instance, I would tell you that I have a problem with a coach and I'd fire him. I've already said that. I said it before they went 13-0 last year. I believed it after they went 13-0 last year. I believed it before that. The problem is, it's true. After you go 13-0, you don't typically fire coaches.
You pay them more.
That's the hard part. There are so many things that add to the noise right now because, and Mike was right to point out, and I'm glad he accepts it and understands it. Because there are coaches right now, there's 1-2 hours from us in Gainesville that don't seem to understand it. And he's taken to weekly ripping of the fans. Well, you can't do that, buddy. You can't lose 6 straight games at the University of Florida and blame the fans in rural Florida for your problems. And nice use, buddy. I mean, what are we doing there? You got very specific.
Look in the mirror, man. You ain't exactly city folk.
Yeah. So, but my point is that's a guy breaking. He's cracking. The weight of all of it has gotten to him.
So is Mr. Swinney.
Yeah.
His Sunday presser. Oh, he's got that Jimbo look from 16.
Oh,
17.
yeah. The eyes darting. It's all crashing down upon you. Mike's not at that place. They just went 13-0. Mike has got a crisis right now. He's got to figure out why. These are hard questions, and it's nuanced because why did I bring up the linebacker coach? Not to take another shot, because in some cases he may want to look at his coaching staff and say that ain't good enough. This guy's not recruiting well, so I don't have the people at the position, and they don't look very well coached. They're not where they're supposed to be. So this is an easy one for me. I'm going to go ahead and move on from, and this is a hypothetical that I'm just talking out loud. Coach Cameron's thinking this. Okay, so maybe I got to move on from Randy. Pains me to do it. I like Randy. He's been a good guy, whatever it might be. This is not a personal attack. Peace. You got to go. With other guys, you might go, I don't think he's the problem. I don't think that his position group is poorly coached. I do need him to recruit better. So what do I do? Do I make a change? Is there somebody better? Do I know that definitively? Can I make that kind of a change? Do I want this kind of upheaval? Am I going to change 4 members of my staff? Or, you can argue, and people do, and you and I have had this discussion, and it's going to take time to find out who's right. In the modern era, what is recruiting? In the modern era, what is recruiting? Like, there used to be guys that absolutely tore it up on the recruiting trail. They were only on your staff to do that because they didn't know a thing about the X's and O's. They were just assassins on the recruiting trail. And you hired them and paid them well, and they were your bag man under the table before it was legal. Or they were charming and persuasive, or whatever it was. They had a knack for being good recruiters. Bobby Bowden was one of the greatest recruiters of all time. He sat in the living room, and it was the aw shucks, and the family's like, he's like a dad. I want to send my kid there. He had it. People said yes to that. All right, but what does that even mean anymore? Because Mike Norvell is very persuasive and very charismatic and can be a top-tier recruiter personality-wise, what he represents, what he preaches, the way he lives his life. I say that not like to uplift him as a deity. I say it because that's what the parents and the players have said that have committed to him, both in the portal and through the high school ranks. But you can't do it by yourself. You got to have other people out there kicking ass on the recruiting trail. If you don't have enough, maybe you make those changes. If that's not the reason that you believe this problem has cropped up now where you're 0-2 and you lost to 2 inferior teams, if you think it's something else, then you have to address it. I can't know that. He can only know that. We can speculate. It's what we do in sports talk radio, and it's what all fans do in their living room when they watch their team win or lose a game. It's what all fans do when they watch from afar the entire league or the sport. We all kind of project based on what we're witnessing, what we think is good or bad with a team or a coach. And we have some context clues and we have some evidence. Sometimes it's very easy to discern. Others, it's much more difficult. And not being in those meeting rooms and not watching that film, the coach's film, I don't know specifically. I have an opinion. Of course I do. But I don't know specifically where he would say, I failed, he failed, this kid's not good enough, we got to make a change. I don't know. It's a case-by-case basis.
His actions in the next few months are going to tell you
right.
where he assigns those percentages.
Right. And I think it's a crossroads moment for Mike because he did a lot of things very well to get to a place where the expectations were this high, and rightfully so. Nobody was wrong to believe that this team was going to be very good. He got it wrong. I got it wrong. You got it wrong. His coaching staff got it wrong. Those players thought they were better than they were. You talked about sort of this arrogance you saw on display in Dublin. Okay, they all got it wrong. Everybody got it wrong, clearly. But nobody was wrong to think that that team wasn't going to be good. There was no – if you might have thought they were going to lose 4 games, that's still 8-4. You're not terrible. You're not this kind of bad. Even if you thought, oh, they're not a 10-win team. DJ's always been average. They've got to replace a lot of top-tier starters. I could see them losing 4 games. They got a tough schedule. They're on the road at Miami. They're on the road at Notre Dame. They've got Clemson, who's got a great defensive line coming in. I could see them losing 3 or 4 games. Okay, even if you said that, right now, it looks like you're going to be very wrong too, because they're terrible. They are terrible right now. There's nothing to hang their hat on right now. They don't do anything well but kick a football. They can kick the hell out of a football. Both their kicker and their punter can kick it. Other than that, they've got nothing. And so, rightfully, I get that nobody saw that coming. Nobody. You show me any analyst in the country and tell me show me the guy that picked 4-8 for a team going 13-0 a year ago. Nobody did. And understandably, you couldn't have known that the cracks ran this deep, that the problems were this decisive. I mean, this is comprehensive.
It's at the core of everything they're about. And it's not easy. One bye week's not going to fix it, but it can start the process of it.
I do think the conversation has to begin. Some of these things are things that you have to deal with in the offseason. They can't be dealt with now. Some of what we just talked about is an offseason fix. But you got 10 games to play, and you can't keep rolling out there looking like that, and you got a bye week. So the biggest decision he has right now is who's going to be a starting quarterback when they do tee it up again. Who is the starting quarterback? And he'll make that decision. You can't. Everybody's got an opinion about it. He has to make that decision, and it's going to be a big one. It's going to be a big one because while this is not all DJ's fault, we know it's not. He's been bad, though. He has been bad. He's missed opportunities that could have either kept the game close or given them a chance to win. You can't miss a wide open receiver in the end zone by 15 yards and throw it off the bricks. That can't happen. You're at too high a level of football for that to happen. And there are too many throws like that where you go, well, good God, man, what are we doing here? So there are also opportunities to run the ball, and he doesn't look very decisive running the ball either. We know Brock would. They'd have to tell him to stop running because Holmes likes to run. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
I'm attorney Carrie Roan with Basic Brooks Law Offices, and we believe you. Now, what does that mean? Over and over, we hear from the people that we represent that when they shared their story of how they were injured, either law enforcement, insurance companies, or business owners didn't believe their story. That's why you need an attorney who has your back no matter what. An attorney who starts by believing that you're telling the truth. We are Basic Brooks, and we believe you. Let's talk. 850-777-7777.
Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark Construction Jobs.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those darn leaks. Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark Construction Jobs.com.
License number CCC 1331204.
Imagine for a moment that you are completely weightless in zero gravity. All of the weight and worry of life is melted away, and you fall into a state of profound relaxation. This is what you'll find at Tallulah CBD Mushrooms THC in Railroad Square when you try out their state-of-the-art floating pods. While you're there, shop for the best quality CBD, mushrooms, THC, and kava products available. Shop Tallulah today with 6 locations in Tallahassee and the Kava Bar Lounge in Bannerman Crossings. Online at TallulahSmokes.com.
Due to customer demands, Falmers has extended their end-of-summer sale until Monday, September 16th at both locations. Many have saved big, as much as 70% off their favorite items, including jewelry, electronics, bikes, and tools. And now you'll buy with even bigger discounts. Plus, Falmers is now discounting all pre-owned firearms, too. This is a great time to buy from Falmers. And if you have something of value you no longer need, use that item as cash. We'll trade with you. Hurry in for your best selection. Falmers Pawn, Gun, and Check Cashing. More than you might expect, with 2 great locations.
This is Alex from Falmers. We've been buying gold and silver jewelry, fine watches, and other collectibles for over 45 years. But did you know Falmers buys and sells gold and silver coins, bars, and bullion? Don't get scammed online or pay high shipping and handling fees. Call or stop by Falmers for a quick and easy quote. No matter if you're new to investing in bullion or have been collecting a lifetime, Falmers is your local source for buying, selling gold and silver coins and bullion. Falmers, more than you might expect, with 2 great locations.
No matter how busy life gets, your home is the place where your family and friends show you they care and celebrate with you. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning always make sure your home is comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, Barano will always be there for you.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 1816186.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
I would also advise look, when you're knee deep in it and you're playing terribly and you're also in a little bit of shock, it's hard to start a year. Like when you're bad, when you're coming off a bad season and you're in the midst of a rebuild, you can go into a season and be hopeful. You can think to yourself, hey, you know what? I believe this team could win 6 games and become bowl eligible. And so when the product rolls out there and you see them play to at best an average level of competence in football, you're not crushed because it's not diametrically opposed to the expectation that you brought to the table for the season. This is hard on so many levels. Florida State ended last year undefeated, and then we know, obviously, what happened. The snub occurred, and you're crushed. It's a gut punch. The next time you see your team after that snub, most of the players that allowed for that season to go unblemished opt out to get ready for the NFL draft, devastated emotionally and physically, and they say, no. And keep in mind, it was the first time in the history of the playoff committee that they had done somebody dirty to that extent. And so it was a unique set of circumstances. You were an undefeated Power 5 conference champion, first ever to be left out. It's not the same when people try to equate it to other situations where somebody got jobbed. This was unique and unto itself. Felt very orchestrated, and people were right to be angry. Nonetheless, when you play that Orange Bowl, it's the last time you saw them before this season began, and we know what the score was, and we know what that represented. And then you thought, well, you know what? Screw it. It's in the past. They're going to keep playing college football games, and I'm going to keep loving Florida State. And you know what? We got an opportunity to go over to Ireland. This is going to be cool as hell. What a fan experience, unlike any fan experience that you've ever had, literally. But nobody's ever had that. Meaning in this fan base, we've not seen Florida State and Ireland ever before. So you make the decision to spend a lot of money, and you go over there and you try to do it up, and you have a great time, and the product was horrible. You're in shock. You leave that stadium that day kind of in shock. And so it's a bitter pill to swallow, but then maybe you convince yourself, okay, week zeros are weird. The underdog has always played well over there in Ireland in all these games. You've seen all kinds of upsets over there or poor performances. Maybe this was the wrong team to play first game out the gate, given who they were and what we were replacing. So I'm going to chalk it all up to odd circumstance. We'll come back. It'll be a home opener. It's a get-right game against Boston College. We have way better players than Boston College. Georgia Tech's better than Boston College. This should be a win. We'll get right. We'll see what the rest of the season holds because we'll go into a bye and we'll kind of, all right, let's sit up and think about what we got here. You know, the good, the bad, and everything in between. And instead, you score 13 points. You get physically manhandled at home. When somebody's running for over 250 yards against you, it's humiliating. It is. It's emasculating. You can't stop it. Your offense looks like it doesn't have anything going for it. All the things you thought that were going to be the backbone of this team. Mike talked about wanting to run the ball and the size of the offensive line. We certainly talked about it. Everybody thought that was going to be the identity of this team. Well, they don't have it. They can't do it. They've been unable to do it. They can't sustain anything in the passing game. They have nothing in the run game. So you wake up Tuesday and Wednesday, and for a little while, we're all stunned here. You feel a little bereft of hope. It's tough. But I would advise not to deep dive. If you emotionally can't handle it, don't deep dive into what you're hearing nationally and what you're reading, because this is a chance for people outside the program who already loathe Florida State because of how boisterous we were after the snub and how they perceive it as arrogance for actually wanting to make as much money as those that you chiefly compete with in the region. They don't understand how it is you'd want to leave like everybody else did to make sure you get a bigger piece of the pie, and they view that as arrogance. That's ignorant, but that's the way they view it. They've made it known. So they already think you're arrogant. They think you're ridiculous for wanting to leave. They think it's wrong that you sued the conference. They think you needed to sit down and shut up after the snub and stop crying because it wasn't their team that got screwed. So it's easy for somebody to say for you to stop crying when it's not their team that got screwed. Out of money, reputation, everything else. Anyhow, don't engage in that. All of those people are going to do exactly what they're doing now. This is where you got to this is insular. Now you got to watch, and there's a lot to watch here, and we don't know what the outcome's going to be. Mike somehow, and I'm surprised by this, but somehow all of that goodwill and all of that success has been flipped on its head in rapid fire fashion through 2 games. And so now, all right, Mike, it's at this point, it's 2 fingers to my eyes, 2 fingers back to you. It has to be. It has to be because he miscalculated somewhere along the way.
And you would message differently if you believed that, if you detected, I should say, somewhere in the offseason that this could happen.
Right.
You would have talked about the group differently. You would have gone to the media, addressed it differently. Perhaps you would have.
Mike's been good about that in the past, Tom.
He has been. He's been very, yes. When they were on the way up, I bring up the story all the time. They messaged to recruits in the 22 cycle. Nothing about 10 wins, nothing about an ACC championship.
No.
It was just go watch us work, watch us play. You'll see that we're improving every week. So he's straight up in his messaging. And that goes for recruits behind the scenes, and it goes typically with the media up front. I don't think he was trying to exude false bravado to hope that he could fake instill confidence in guys that he didn't believe could win, and maybe they would fake it until they make it. I don't think he was desperate. I don't think he was reaching. I don't think he was lying. I think he honestly believed what he was saying. And when you look at relative competition in practice, when you presuppose that this line is going to produce 3 NFLers, this upcoming NFL draft, that the starting front 4 is going to do that, and that Mike Norvell has told you that he believes, because he's seen it, that this offensive line is the best he's had, and you see good competition every day, you don't think it's because both sides suck.
Right.
You think it's because it's one good group that's going to get drafted is going against its equal and opposite.
Especially
when you're finding out, when you helicopter, lift those people up, drop them on the field, and the game counts on a Saturday or a Monday, that, oh no, the reason we were succeeding on the ground in practice is because the D-line isn't very good, or the second-level defenders aren't. And the reason that, this offensive line was giving DJU time in practice was not because there's aptitude there. It's because the pass rush isn't so hot. So that's the hard part.
Well, the other reason it's difficult too, Tom, is that you saw Josh Farmer play well last year.
Very well.
You saw Patrick Payton play well last year. Those are guys that played well.
And that's where it's not all of one thing, not all of the other. I think if your second level defenders make some plays in these first 2 games, we look at what the D-line did differently. Not saying that we would talk about them as world beaters. I'm just saying, especially in the Boston College game, you've got a lot of circumstances where it's just on a guy to come up and make a play on the ball carrier. That's the way football is designed. That's the way the offense wants it. That's the way the defense has it lined up. Here's a linebacker in a gap, make a play. And sometimes he got up there and didn't make the play. Sometimes he wasn't even in the gap.
Wasn't where he was supposed to be.
But the neutralization of the trenches was there, and you're in a position to go be in 2nd and 9 and 2nd and 8. Instead, you're in 2nd and 4.
Yeah, and losing begets losing. You end up with a crisis of confidence, and now nobody plays up to the ability that they have because they're all looking around at each other and point. Yeah, there's a lot that can happen when things dissolve into this mess that we're watching. And it's going to be up to him to try to salvage that. He obviously he addressed it after the loss by noting that there would be negativity surrounding the program, and he understood it. Then, that's what happens when you don't meet expectations. But he also said, but a football team has to stay together. Well, he was already starting to try to do that work. We'll see if he's successful. That is yeoman's work. That is tough. Kids aren't like you and me that have been through the ups and downs of life and into our 40s and 50s to see the good, the bad, and have perspective. They're 19 and they want to win.
Well, and that's where he's right that it falls on him. And it's good that he says that. But you're also right to be furious with him.
Oh, you can be upset.
He's being paid 8 figures.
Yes.
And to not see this coming, that tells me there's a detachment of some sort of the finger on the pulse of either the film sessions and the assessments, the self-evaluation of what you have, or he's not feeling what that locker room is feeling. And either way, that just can't happen. It just cannot.
Yeah, I agree with that. Use Jeff25 discount code for 25% off any services at DexaFit. DexaFit provides a DEXA scan. It's the most accurate measure of all body composition methods. It's more accurate than the bioimpedance, the calipers, and other things that you fitness nuts have read about probably in the past. It's the gold standard in what is used in clinical diagnosis. They have that available to you right here in town. You get direct measurements. You can find out how much visceral fat you have. That's the bad fat, folks. That's the fat you're going to want to lose. You can learn what your body composition is. You get the DEXA scan results instantly. There is a methodology that can be incorporated into your current workout system, whatever that might be, that allows you to become the healthiest that you can become. You get one of those scans every 3 to 6 months. Let's save you some money while you do it. Use Jeff25, discount code for 25% off any services at DexaFit.
Now, starting this school year, middle and high schoolers at the Brookwood School in Thomasville have to put their phones in a magnetically locked pouch during the school day and seal it. When the day is over, students can use the unlocking stations to have access to their phones and other personal electronics like smartwatches or earbuds. The new policy is to make sure kids are getting the most out of their education. The Wakulla County Sheriff's Office says that Wakulla County Commissioner Mike Kemp was arrested in August and has since been released. Kemp was booked into the Wakulla County Jail August 30th. Kemp is accused of using personal information by a public record to harass and tampering with a witness. Kemp provided a printout with the name, date of birth, address, voter ID number, and party affiliation of the victim to a woman who shared the information online. Kemp and others who were also arrested had mistaken the victim for someone else who was making comments online against him. This is a developing story. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Chance for storms this afternoon. Otherwise, cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun. Daytime highs approaching 89. Northeasterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Cloudy skies tonight. Slight chance of thunderstorms. Lows level off around 74. Chance for storms tomorrow. Highs level off around 85. Overcast skies. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently 80.
Howdy, folks. Jeff Cameron here to tell you about my friends at DexaFit Tallahassee. What is DexaFit, you might ask? Well, it's where you want to go if you're looking to elevate your health and fitness journey. DexaFit's exclusive services include AI-enhanced body scans, VO2 max fit testing, and RMR metabolism analysis to provide detailed insights into your body composition, cardiovascular fitness, and metabolic well-being. Sounds like a lot of science, but that's because it is. The most advanced science available. In fact, that's a good thing, right? DexaFit gives you immediate detailed insights about your body composition, provides a customized plan to improve on troubled areas, delivered in an easy-to-navigate mobile app so you can share the information with your trainer or even your doctor to find the most direct path to your peak health. Check out DexaFit Tallahassee, the most accurate and most state-of-the-art body composition scanning and fitness planning available. Located on Capitol Circle Northeast, directly next to Bumpus. Check them out online at DexaFit.com and tell them Jeff Cameron sent you. DexaFit Tallahassee. Know your body and transform your life. Social Kitchen on Cary Forest Parkway is your place for all things related to football season. Need steaks? Social Kitchen. Need chef-prepared sides and appetizers? Social Kitchen. Need desserts for a party? Social Kitchen. Anything you need this fall, Social Kitchen has you covered. Tallahassee's only premier market where you can receive the famed Snake River Farm steaks and premier meats. Social Kitchen also has chef-prepared meals and sides that are ready to serve in under 20 minutes. Stop in or visit online at socialkitchentlh.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Tom writes, in the interest of levity, can we please get an updated W's and L's from you and Tom? Oh, good God. You want to do that next hour? We could.
Oh, man, I don't know.
Elijah? I found old video of DJU from the 2022 ACC championship game and the Syracuse game when he was with Clemson. Same errors he made in those games he made in the BC game. Does DJU have the yips? performs well in practice, but not on game day. Somebody else suggested that he had the yips as well because some of the throws were so off that you're like, well, wait a minute. I've seen you play a lot better brand of football. Where
He doesn't look that out of touch in practice.
Yeah, no.
I don't think it's just the green jersey, non-contact jersey.
It's got to be something about the game, yeah. Joe writes, Jeff, what on earth do you think Vegas saw in week 1 against Georgia Tech that made them think the Noles would win by 16.5 points? They thought it was a fluke. We were hoping it was a fluke as well. They thought Florida State has a lot better players. Boston College, new coaching staff, not a lot of good players.
That's another one. Vegas isn't in the business of being 33 points off on a spread.
Oh, right. You know, again, they're not playing to that ability. Mitchell writes, did the snub force Mike's hand into a reload when a high school recruit focused rebuild would have been the more sound move? Oh, sorry. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Did he have to go to the portal more than he wanted to go in order not to take the step back and really just hyper focus on high school and try to build it up for 2 and 3 years down the road? I don't know. I agree with Tom. I think he thought this team was going to be good and that they were about 4 or 5 players away, in particular quarterback. And that's why when the opportunity presented itself, he went for it. Stephen writes, from Scotland, Mike has to be ruthless with coaches and players. Nothing will lose you more recruits and portal players than big fat L's. We need W's. Thank you, Stephen. Enjoy Scotland. I think behind closed doors, there's a lot of brutality going on right now. I don't think he's a man who minces words. I've seen that side of Mike. I know it exists. But again, you're in this together right now. So you've got 10 games to play. You got to have something you can hang your hat on. They're not doing anything well. You might not have time to have the really tough conversations that you need to have with certain members of your staff. Oh, you can put them on notice, and you can certainly demand more of them. But right now, you're having to implement specific things that you think might help you win a GD football game. Hour number 2 forthcoming. Stay with.
AC and electric is what we do. Service, repairs, and installation too. 222-7722.
The team at Parker Services is growing, and they have immediate openings for talented people. If you have experience in the air conditioning or electrical fields and share their values of honesty, empathy, loyalty, and professionalism, you can have a great career at Parker Services Air Conditioning and Electrical. Qualified candidates will be hired at a minimum of $25 per hour, depending on experience and qualifications. They have competitive benefits, including 401k matching, health insurance, and paid time off. Call or visit their website, TallahasseeAC.com, to apply today. TMC 050334 and EC 1301240.
Your destination for the most authentic Peruvian flavors in the capital city is Café de Martín and El Bar, where you can escape to another world and indulge in the true taste and experience of Peru. Enjoy daily lunch specials like our all-new lomo saltado or beef asado sandwiches served with a side and a drink. All-day happy hour every day and exciting live entertainment every weekend. Join us this Friday at 7 p.m. for a night of your favorite songs with singer Carlin Gill. View our full menu and live music schedule online at cafedemartin.com.
Pinch A Penny Pools has the largest selection of premium hot springs hot tubs in the city. You might even call it Tallahassee's Hot Tub Hub. 12,000 square feet of hot tubs, with over 50 of them on site. Over 20,000 gallons of tub capacity to choose from. That's 4,620,000 cubic inches of hot tubs. But I digress. So why should you own a hot tub from Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas, you might ask? Well, I'll tell you. Number 1. Health benefits, of course. The healing powers of soaking in a hot bubbling pool of water go back centuries. Google it. Number 2, Pinch A Penny has hot tubs with technology called Freshwater IQ. It gives you real-time chemical readings and tells you exactly what to add to keep the water at peak perfection, with automated analysis to help you control the chlorine and pH. It's hot tubs for dummies. Sign me up. Number 3, they have the best prices, of course. Plus, you get a free accessory and no interest financing. Easy peasy. But if you don't want to take my word for it, check them out yourself. Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas. Locally owned, locally operated, and the easiest way to find relaxation at home.
Searching for the best place to spend time outdoors this spring and summer? The Golf Club at Summerbrook has all the amenities you and your family need. Purchase a family pool membership this season and enjoy the most luxurious and relaxing resort-style pool in the entire city with a 6,000 square foot deck, covered pavilion, and poolside drink and food service. You'll feel like you're on vacation. Reserve your pool membership today. Visit the Golf Club at Summerbrook.com or call 850-894-GOLF. That's 894-GOLF.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee. Your sports action update on Real Talk 93.3 with all the latest odds from Vegas. Brought to you by Palmar's Pawn, Gun and Gold. More than you might expect with two great locations in Tallahassee.
So early line for the Florida Gators matchup with FCS Samford at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium on Saturday. Other games of interest, it's UCF laying 24 against Sam Houston State, 58.5 the total. Alabama, 31-point home favorite against South Florida. Jacksonville Jaguars open the season Sunday at Miami as a 3.5-point road underdog. The total 49 at Hard Rock Stadium. Atlanta Falcons laying 3.5 at home against the Pittsburgh Steelers, 42 at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Atlanta Braves today a $2.90 home favorite against the Rockies. The Rays a slight -105 underdog at home against Minnesota -115. Bundle and save with Progressive. Progressive.com. For more sports betting news and information, go to VSIN.com. Mike Sennett, Real Talk 93.3.
Lowe's knows saving pros time and money means getting the job done easier. Right now, save 10% on Georgia Pacific vinyl siding panels. Plus, save an additional 20% when you buy in bulk. And get free same-day delivery to the job site when you order by 2 p.m. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Offer valid through 9/4. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate. Not a rate based on Terry who keeps and makes the car behind them. Oh no, they're about to. Save with DriveWise and the Allstate app and only pay a rate based on you.
Not available in every state, subject to terms and conditions. Rating factors and savings vary, and in some states your rate could increase with high-risk driving. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Your AC unit decides to give up the ghost. It doesn't always pick the best time. But no matter what time, day or night, or day of the week, you can call E&B Heating and Air Conditioning. We'll be out to bring your AC unit back to life. We've been repairing and replacing heating and air conditioning systems in the North Florida and South Georgia area since 1974. So when your air conditioner stops working, call E&B Heating and Air Conditioning to the rescue.
Widden Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Widden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Widden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Widden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Widden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
I'm Franklin, and I've been a Paul's Termite technician for well over 10 years. Working for a great company like Paul's Termite and Pest Control is a blessing for my family and myself. I get tremendous satisfaction knowing that the work I do helps protect most people's biggest investment, their homes, the place where they raise their families and build lifelong relationships. Paul's is a company that stands behind their commitments to customers and employees, and that makes me proud to represent them.
I'm Jay. Having the privilege to work with people like Franklin and all of our employees is truly an honor. There is no doubt that the staff of Paul's Termite and Pest Control is the best in our industry. All of our people are local, and local really does mean something. We are North Floridians. Our kids go to school here. We shop here. We build relationships here, and we honor our commitments. To all of our customers, thanks for trusting us to protect your family, pets, and home.
For the elimination of termites, any other pests, and a greener lawn too, call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Florida's capital city. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
As we embark on hour number 2 on a Balls McWednesday. On Twitter, it's at Jay Cameron Show. Thanks to those of you in the chat. Got to some of these, not everybody, but appreciate you guys talking in there. And then you guys listening out there, you're probably all just as it's depressing. It's hard not to sound depressing, but it's a serious discussion too. I want to make sure that we're measured with this, because I don't think that like slapping easy fix labels on things that are complex does much good. And kind of talking through and vetting some of the aspects of what's been wrong and what you might be able to get right moving forward, what's going to have to happen in season as opposed to off season. These are all intriguing things to try to tackle, to try to wrap your arms around. You know, for example, I've heard some people, and I'm giving this is sort of a catch-all. This happens a lot. You'll hear people say, well, where's the leadership? And I'm not saying that when you see sort of a rudderless-looking team that it's not normal to question leadership. But what does it really mean? What does that mean? And then some people will theorize that the reason there's a lack of leadership is because you're counting on so many portal players. I don't know. Maurice Smith's been here a long time. Darius Washington's been here 6 years. Those are 2 starters, 2 key starters at one of the most important, if not the most important position groups on a football team. Besides quarterback, it's offensive and defensive line. It's where you start. Well, you're veterans, guys that have committed, been with the program forever, that bought in, that were all about the culture, were all about the process, were all about the things that they went through along with their teammates to make this program a hell of a lot better than it was when they arrived. You'd think that they're invested to the point that they would have a voice or a say and leadership capability. Josh Farmer's been here a while. He remembers that this team wasn't any good, and then last year obviously was, and then now, came into this season. It's going to be his big money-making season. This is going to be it, right? It's going to be the guy. He was figuring Patrick Payton, same thing. There are guys that were here for the bad and came through it, invested in it, believed in the mission, believed in the whole methodology. And so just because you bring in some portal players doesn't mean that somehow there's no leadership because they're from somewhere else. Yeah, there are a lot of players at a lot of schools kicking ass right now that are portal guys. That we just saw it a year ago. And there are plenty that were foundational at those places as well. I get it that DJ can't immediately come in and have the same sort of cachet that a Darius has. He can't. He was at Clemson and Oregon State. How could he? He doesn't know what it was like to be here. Darius does. He was here in 2019, for Christ's sake. I mean, he's seen it all. So to varying degrees, you can have that form of leadership that everybody is seeking. But I just feel like leadership's a catch-all. If you want to question leadership from the head coach and the mistakes that led to this disastrous beginning, fine. But he, too, has shown a remarkable leadership along the way in turning this program around. So this would have happened out of nowhere. Did he suddenly just forget how to lead? Did he suddenly stop trying? I don't know. Mike doesn't seem to be doing too many things different than he was the first day I ever saw him. I mean, his practices in terms of the way, the energy that he coaches with and the attention to detail, it's there. I just think it's too easy to say they're lacking leadership. Clearly, it would appear they are. I'm not saying it's crazy to say that. I just don't know. Can you give me specifics?
Well, so from a practice standpoint, it looks the same as it has. as it always has to me.
Yeah, in terms of the pace,
and
the
coaching
intensity.
involvement, the intensity, it looks the same.
They don't hit enough. They never hit enough, in my opinion, but that's a different complaint.
Agreed, but at least that's the same. You know,
It's
not
it
like
hasn't
this
changed,
year they decided to, and you could talk about maybe holding veterans out and not giving them enough reps. They've done that every year. Every year they've had guys that they believe that they're going to lean on. They've decided we're going to take it easy on them in fall camp. That goes all the way back to Dylan Gibbons and Jermaine Johnson and Jared Verse. Braden Fisk even had days where you're like, well, okay, guess they're not going to roll him out there for too much today. So they've been consistent there. But there's two things that have to be true. Have to be. Number one, there's a disconnect from the head coach to the players somewhere in the chain of command, either because of him or because of information he's getting. He didn't see it coming. So by definition, there is a disconnect. And this is where I would agree with the people about leadership. There is none on an acceptable level. You can't be this flat this often. You can't be this flat this often when it comes to playing inspired or looking prepared. Through 2 games against 2 opponents that you have infinitely more talent than, you don't look prepared. And for long stretches of games, you don't look inspired. Now, I think defensively, that was torpedoed a little bit by the 4th down decision in the 3rd quarter. I think the defense was finding its legs. And then the head coach decided to go for it in a wild circumstance. And not only did you not convert, you spotted them 35 yards going the other way because of an interception. And at that point, it seemed like spirits were broken a little bit.
Yeah, I would defend the defense a little bit more the other night than I have if they could have gotten off the field in the first quarter.
Of Georgia Tech, right?
Yeah, I would have. But they couldn't get off the field on 3rd down in the first quarter, and your offense had the ball for 3 plays. By the way, there is no first guessing or predicting that a guy like Lawrence Toafili is going to drop a 3rd and 6 pass right in his hands that keeps the offense moving. That's going to be a 20 to 30-yard gain, and he's one of your best players. And he doesn't catch the ball.
And he's accountable.
He's accountable. He's a great kid.
All of those
He
things.
drops the ball. He's wide open. It's actually thrown on time. It's actually thrown accurately. He just doesn't catch it. My man, that can't happen. I need you to make this play. We just got done giving up a very long drive. We need the ball. Let's go back down and score. Here you go. Perfectly designed play. This executed is a first down, and it's more than a first down. By the way, on that note, Tom, anybody that has been at any practice, and that's coaches, that's former players, that's any media, national, local, any of them, and your head coach talked about him ad nauseum, that watched Kyle Morlock in camp thought he was going to be a huge impact player for this offense. They schemed a lot of things for him.
Yeah.
They went to him often. He made catch after catch after catch in practice. I can specifically tell you, this is not something that would get me in trouble. He made an incredible, and he's well covered, back shoulder catch along the sideline. He has to twist his body, contort it. It's an impossible catch compared to the ones that he's dropped already this year. He makes that catch early in camp, and Mike goes sprinting over to him, slaps him on the ass, tells him, great job. That's what I'm talking about. This is what I'm going to need. He's basically telling you in that moment, we want to run a lot of stuff for you. You're a matchup problem for defenses. Yeah. I need you to take another step. Morlock looked as big and strong as he's ever looked since he's arrived. He was committed to trying to become a better blocker. He's blocked horribly so far this year. And he can't, he caught everything. Well, now he can't catch anything.
Yeah.
So that's that's got to be confidence. It's crazy.
Even the one in the end zone, I thought he should have come away
with.
Of
course.
It's a catch in traffic. But,
yeah.
I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on. And that's where, again, something is amiss in terms of the communication level and the expectation. If you don't see that this is potentially something that can happen, you'd coach away from it. You would coach away from it. And to your point with Lawrence Toafili, the game prior against Georgia Tech, one of our early drives is prolonged because he makes a very nice adjustment on a poorly thrown ball on a 3rd down.
Yeah.
It's behind him. That they're going to Lawrence Toafili in that situation tells me 2 things. Number one, it's a further indictment on the belief in the receivers, because I think you're scheming him to be open in that play. Given the down and distance, looks like those other routes were farther down the field. You're just trying to go get a first down. That you're turning to running back Lawrence Toafili in that situation tells me that, man, you've got to trust him more than you trust your other guys to go make a play in that circumstance. But the part that frustrates me, the second part is we're talking about a singular play, and Coach Norvell talked about that after Georgia Tech. In the end, it came down to one play. It should never come down to one play against Georgia Tech and Boston College. You should have to have 15 things go wrong in order for you to be in a game, period. But what's really alarming to me is you don't feel 15 and 16 things go wrong to lose a game close. Not at Boston College. You got smoked. And they didn't even break out Castellanos.
No, they
the
didn't do anything different. No, that's the funny part is they didn't have to.
You're not a play away.
Yeah, no, you're not a play away. They didn't have to do anything. They didn't have to do anything unique. We were the one reaching into our bag of tricks. We were the one desperately throwing flea flickers we were the one that was showing that level of desperation, not the team with inferior players. They lined up and ran the ball over and over and over again. And even in moments where you met them at the line of scrimmage, they knew you weren't tough enough to get them down there. They were going to fall forward for 2 or 3 yards. And that way they could stick by it because they didn't have to be behind the chains all that often. There's so many moments where you watch, it's 3rd and 5, it's 3rd and 4, it's 3rd and 3. And I remember I was thinking conversely, like how many times last year Florida State was 2nd and 10, 2nd and 11 because we couldn't get the run game going. And how frustrated I was with that. I brought it to the table very early in the season, right after the Southern Miss game. And I thought, well, that score is deceiving. They couldn't run around with your athletes, and so they got beat. But they shut down your run game. You had no success running the football. And that was disturbing to me at the time. Well, that was because I knew that you were going to have to try to convert way too many 3rd and longs where you become very predictable. Well, Boston College wasn't. Boston College was winning those first downs in the run game. And so now all of a sudden, I don't have to deviate. I don't have to put pressure on a guy that I know is not a great passer. If I'm Bill O'Brien, I've got plays dialed up in the passing game. I don't want to have to call them against these corners. My receivers aren't better than these corners. I don't want Castellanos to sit in the pocket and have to throw a dime 15, 20, 25 yards downfield. I want him to be able to turn, hand the ball off. I want him to be able to throw off a play action on 3rd and short. Hell, what he had to throw was to his running backs because our linebackers weren't going to be there to cover him. And they did it over and over again. After, unfortunately for him, after Trayshawn Ward dropped the first one, he'd still be running, by the way. After he dropped the first one, they went back to the exact same play. They ran it the other way. It's the exact same play. Now, one would think in that moment after you'd seen that, oh, dodged a bullet. Let's go over here and get on the whiteboard, fellas. If you see this,
yeah. And a couple of times it was the same level of communication that was necessary between the backers. One of the times for the touchdown, it was actually slot defender and safety, I think. It was Shaheem and Fentrell.
Shaheem hasn't done a thing yet this year.
Well, and Fentrell either got benched or was hurt or something because Azaria sure as heck was on the field in the second half, but you saw Quindarius get some run, and then you saw Edwin Joseph get a turn.
Who are going to be good players.
I think they are.
Yeah, I do too. I do too.
Yeah, but
that's one area they have recruited really well. I think they've recruited well in the secondary.
That's where I don't have the binoculars and I'm not watching the sidelines. I'm watching at home because I got to do, the post-game show after. But I wonder what the problem was there because Fentrell was also the guy who was late on the man coverage on the crosser or the deep post that Castellanos missed. It's the second game in a row. That one I feel is more on the rush because Castellanos had a few seconds before he cut that throw loose down the field. So you can't cover somebody for 4 and 5 seconds. But I find that interesting that Azaria wasn't pulled off the field, but Fentrell was in favor of some younger players. So that's something to monitor moving forward.
Yeah, I don't know if he was hurt. Yeah.
Here's the other thing, and I'm not trying to tee you up. This is me venting, actually, about linebacker play. Is I remember when Tatum Bethune arrived on campus, how much cleaner practice looked. Communication
was important. Yeah.
The communication, the lining up, the gaps. Like Tatum understood. And I thought, it's almost like seeing a professional arrive. Like, okay, at the old radio station, I had to do these engineering things that I wasn't certified to do when there was an emergency. But then when the engineer finally got there, who was on call, and he's here an hour later, I'm like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
You fixed this thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing. I know how to push buttons. You know how to wire things. It's like when Tatum arrived at linebacker. Oh, thank God. Look at this guy. He knows what he's doing. And he and Deloach had it down. They were totally in sync. And you would think, all right, now this starts the new basis by which we need to expect communication. This is the new floor. The moment he's gone, we're late again. We're just constantly late on communication. There's a play where Grady Kelly's back is turned to the line of scrimmage, and we get away with it.
Yeah.
I think it was a batted ball. We get away with it on that play. That's not the only play of its kind in the first 2 weeks. Communication is late consistently, and it's, damn it, man.
The layers to which you can complain about the problems we've seen through 2 games is staggering. It's like I feel bad when I, zone in on one, right? When I zoom in on one. If I hyper-focus on DJ, it's as if I instantly feel bad thinking that people believe, if they're just passing through, that I think he is the only reason they're playing poorly. I don't. Now, he is playing poorly, very poorly. I would think about making a change. But that alone will not change the fate of Florida State, because he isn't the sole reason they're awful. They're awful for lots of reasons that we've laid bare over the course of the last 48 hours, 72 hours. There are so many things that have to get fixed. It is a bit overwhelming, and it is alarming that they're in that predicament. This is where you do well, what happened, Mike? Because they should not be in this position. It should be that, oh, you know what? We're really struggling here. We're going to make an adjustment from the personnel here. I'm going to change what I want to run. Maybe we'll hyper-focus on this aspect of my offense instead of what I tried to do early in the season. These should be minor adjustments that lead to big change down the line. Instead, it feels overwhelming because they haven't blocked well up front. They haven't reset the line of scrimmage on the defensive line. They don't have a pass rush to speak of. That's the other part. When they do have an opportunity on 3rd and long to get to the quarterback, they never do.
3 Mississippi. 4
Yeah,
Mississippi.
they never do, Tom. It's like, where are you, Patrick Payton? Where are you, Marvin Jones Jr.? What in the world are you doing? This is your time. The linebackers are out of position. They can't cover. They don't fill. DJ Lundy's 5 to 7 yards behind people. Why is he on the field on 3rd and long? He's never been able to cover. That's not his strong suit. Why is he in that position? That's something that you'd point to the coaches about at that point and say, look, man, he is who he is. We know what he is. Why is he out there covering somebody? They're going to isolate running backs and tight ends on these linebackers over and over and over again.
Especially after Georgia Tech.
Yes.
So even if you wanted to put him in that situation, which is crazy, against Tech, and that's the final drive that kills you because it's a 3rd and long there, you would think after the Georgia Tech example,
that you would learn. You would learn, and you'd
even
make
if
the
that's
adjustment.
an extra safety, even
now,
if it's KJ Kirkland or somebody.
Right. And so my point would be like that's a coaching error that's easily pointed out.
I guess. Not so easy they didn't fix it before BC.
Well, there's a level to which you could fix it. If you don't have good players at the position, you can only fix so much. But, this is why it feels so overwhelming. Yesterday on Headlines, I said to Ira, it's like when you feel bad when you're watching one of these weight loss shows, like The Biggest Loser that used to be on or something. I would always feel bad for certain people, right? I think it takes a certain level of guts to go out there at 400 pounds and let the world watch you struggle to walk down the end of a driveway. Like that. Seriously, I know I can be a sarcastic prick. I can be mean-spirited and salty and sarcastic. But I have a heart. I could see those people and I'd go, man, this is tough. I hope this guy makes it. Like, you're rooting for the people, right? But one of the things I always noticed early on was that you had to, like any of the successful moments of these shows where some gargantuan individual is trying to lose 200 pounds to save their life and be here for the people they love, right? You have to get them through that first month because it's so overwhelming. It's such a change and shock to their system. It's so arduous to say, I've got to go from here to there.
It's like withdrawal and rehabilitation.
Yeah, you're a heroin addict and your hands are shaking. You can only think about that right now. You're not thinking about a week, 2 weeks, 6 months, a year. But you have to start somewhere. It starts somewhere, right? I don't understand, and I continue to have this problem with when I get on our linebackers, I understand that some of them are limited. But I don't understand why 2 things have remained true. We struggle to run zone ever, and did it last year and the year before, and we struggle to teach it, okay? And then number 2, DJ Lundy has never been able to cover somebody. Why is he out there in that situation?
Yeah, specifically that situation. It's like putting in Bartolo Colon as a pinch runner, right?
Yeah,
you know,
and then you're mad when he gets thrown out.
Yeah, top of the ninth, right? Yeah, top of the ninth. You're down a run. Your catcher walks. Good job, great turn at bat. We're gonna pinch run for you with Bartolo. It's a gapper. Okay, 2 outs. It's a gapper. I think we can score from first here. Bartolo's gunned down by 3 steps. You know, to come to think of it,
yeah, probably should have gone with somebody else.
Why did we run Bartolo there?
The aftershave lotion for your boys is called the Crop Soother. The anti-chafing deodorant is called the Crop Preserver. The boxers that are comfortable.
We need soothing and preservation in our life right now.
We do. And if you've got issues with hair coming out your ears, looking all wild, nose hair, all the things that you find to be pesky, you can get that fixed with the Weed Whacker. You can save a ton of money doing it. 20% off right now. Free shipping with the code WARCHANT at manscaped.com. That's 20% off. Free shipping, manscaped.com. Use code WARCHANT. WARCHANT. There you go. 20% off.
What's the code?
Manscaped. WARCHANT. Manscaped.com. Jeff Cameron, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, WARCHANT TV. Hey, let me tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today, 844-464-6653. That's 844-464-6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the battle's end. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653.
This is Shannon Young with Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. Investors, are you looking for a creative way to purchase your next rental property? Are you looking to get into the Airbnb space? If so, you need to know about DSCR loans. It stands for Debt Service Coverage Ratio. These are loans that do not require traditional income verification. As long as the proposed rent covers the mortgage payment on the subject property, that's the only income you need. If you're looking at investing and don't know if you can qualify, let's set up a plan to get your next income-producing property and start putting you on a path to passive income. Give me a call at 954-369-6171. And don't forget, every fellow Knoll that we close a loan for, I will personally make a donation of $250 to the battle's end. It's Shannon Young at 954-369-6171.
Equal housing limit. NMLS number 373033.
Hey, Knoll fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. Games for Less, Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used games, as well as new and used consoles like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Atari 2600, PS4, and PS5. You name it. Locally owned and operated since 1994, trade-ins are not only welcome, but Games for Less pays more for your trade-ins than the big chain stores. That's not all. Games for Less now buys and sells new and used vinyl records to boot. George loves the Beatles, by the way. Reserve all the new releases today at Games for Less, conveniently located in the Walmart Supercenter Plaza on Appalachia Parkway.
Sarah here with Seminole Auto Glass. Hey, Greg.
Hey, what's up?
It's turkey season. Have you hit one yet?
A turkey? No.
Good for you, because we've seen more turkey suicides than anything lately.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we had a pretty foul morning.
Oh.
But our customer just went to Seminole Auto Glass and uploaded their insurance card. We got them back on the road with feathers flying in no time. Hey, Greg, which side of a turkey has more feathers? The outside.
Oh.
Better call Seminole.
Seminole Auto Glass. Call 850-539-4527.
Your destination for the most authentic Peruvian flavors in the capital city is Café de Martín and El Bar, where you can escape to another world and indulge in the true taste and experience of Peru. Enjoy daily lunch specials like our all-new lomo saltado or beef asado sandwiches served with a side and a drink. All-day happy hour every day and exciting live entertainment every weekend. Join this Saturday at 7 p.m. for acoustic trio Jim Ed, Tim Ed. View our full menu and live music schedule online at cafedemartin.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
You saw it there during the break. Let me mention it really quickly here before we get into our talking points. The trip to Notre Dame. We're going to need to see this thing get turned around, Tom.
It's about the experience. It's about an experience.
Hey, honestly, that is true. I did it the last time we went to Notre Dame.
Woof.
And we knew what was going to happen.
Yes, we did.
I went anyhow.
And it still kicked ass.
It was awesome. We had a great time. If by chance there is a similar fate awaiting this Florida State Notre Dame game, understand that the best way to experience that is with Spirit Express. SpiritExpress.com. We'll be there. Windy City Seminole Club will be there. The tailgating is going to get down. Have a good time either way. And your transportation from Chicago to South Bend, that dump of a town, is taken care of. Premium open bar, extensive food menu. Got the tents with the heaters if you need them. We're all good.
Again, for those of you listening on the radio or podcast, Spirit, as in, plant the spear.
SpearItExpress.com. Yeah, sorry. SpearItExpress.com, yes. And I do look forward to going to that, and I'm going to go to that. I will be there. We need to be playing a hell of a lot better.
You think Notre Dame will go 5 wide the whole game?
Let's do it. We said we'd do it. You ready?
Really?
Yeah, sure. We got to be a man of our word. Hey, listen, this is what you do.
I didn't think you were serious.
Yeah, we'll do it. I wanted it when we were over in Ireland. We got sidetracked. We had so much to do, and it just like we would do shows, and we got to where we got caught a little off guard, and we never got back around to doing it. Now, unfortunately, W's and L's this last time, for levity's sake, is informed by 2 losses. One to Georgia Tech, one to Boston College, including the home opener in which he scored 13 points. And Boston College was seen taking a knee when they could have won 35-13. That's a tough one. It's a serious adjustment time, Tom. Cue it up.
Wins.
All right. How you doing?
Losses.
Damn it! We lost. We fucking super lost, man.
Well, do we triumph? Where doth thou fall?
Well, I got an answer to that. Florida State, Georgia Tech. I'm going to shock y'all. I'm going with an L. Going with an L. Big time loss to start the year. It's going to floor us. Let's see how we bounce back. It's the home opener, Tom. Be hard to lose to Boston College. I got us losing that one, though. I think we're off to an unprecedented 0-2 start after an undefeated campaign a year ago. 0-2 with 2 losses, buddy. How about them apples? What do you got those 2 games? Same? Oh, man, we're pissing some people off today.
Wow.
Memphis at Florida State.
What you got? Oh, you're handing the ball here? Handing it off? I'll be better than 2nd and 9, 2nd and 10 if you hand the ball off.
Okay, give me a second here on Memphis. This is tough. So right out the gates, right? Memphis won 40-0 over North Alabama. Of course, Florida State struggled with North Alabama. last year.
That's true. That's a through line.
Yeah. So 40-0 for Memphis. They're taking care of business. This weekend, they've got Troy coming to town.
Ooh.
A little bit of Troy action. Noon kickoff. Lock it in. You can see Memphis and find out what you got.
A lot of Alabama loving for Memphis to start the season.
Yeah. So that's Memphis so far. I gotta believe coming out of the bye, we'll eke out a win. W.
Yeah, I agree. They're going to win the football game. I don't know what score. I don't know what circumstance.
Hey, I'm done with it. I saw Ingram on Monday. He was getting ready to go and be part of the Battles Inn tailgate and feed people those oysters and all the good times, all the things. And he was leaving and I was coming in. We didn't get to talk much. And we were both, rolling eyes about what happened the week before. And I was like, buddy, they got to win tonight, right? And he goes, I don't care what the score is. Just win the game. Just win tonight. And I was greedy. I was like, no, Ingram, no. We need to blow them out. Come on, get it together.
Ingram, why?
Yeah.
Ingram, no.
So I'm siding with him.
No.
I'll take 6-3 over Memphis. I'll take 2-0. I'll take anything.
You're going to see, I think. We haven't seen practice yet, folks, so this isn't inside knowledge.
We're not allowed to this week until tomorrow.
And even then, I think you're going to see some changes in terms of personnel. There's got to be. Got to be.
Well,
now, does that mean that magically there's
too.
production? I don't know. But look, man, when Mike was desperate in the ACC championship, he turned to Lawrence Toafili and the Wildcat.
And the Wildcat.
I wouldn't put anything past him.
Correct.
I wouldn't put anything past him in this game.
Desperate times, desperate measures. I'm taking it. I'll call it a win, but I don't feel great about it. I'm not lying. I'm going to tell you, feels like a 50-50 game. I'll give it to us coming out of the bye. W.
Win.
Cal, Florida State. Win.
I don't know. Can I do? I don't know on W's and L's. I'm not sure about this one.
You want to look at Cal here real quick? Does anybody know?
Does anybody want to look at Cal?
Cal beat UC Davis in week 1, 31-13. They've got Auburn this weekend.
There you go.
At Auburn.
Yeah, there's a little good indicator for you.
Yeah.
Look, man, Auburn should win by 50 because they had Alabama on the ropes last year. They played Georgia tough. It's unbelievable how difficult it is to go to Auburn and win a football game.
All right, well, Cal's going to this Saturday, so we'll watch that game and get a sense of Cal. But
L. I'm going with an L.
You go with an L.
Yeah.
1-3. All right. I can't. That's a toughie. Florida State, SMU. Now, SMU looked terrible.
Yeah.
Against a terrible 2-win Nevada team.
This is a huge game for emotional gut check. How connected are we as a group? Because that will be a rabid atmosphere that has no right to be as rabid as it is because
rabid for 30,000 people.
I know, but it's still enough to say, are we together?
Did
we
they
make
care.
this road trip together?
Yeah, they care. SMU cares. They're going to, What you going with?
W.
I'm going W too.
Oh, wow.
I'm going W too. I got us winning 3 straight.
Oh, boy.
We're 3-2, ladies and gentlemen.
A little 2-3 for that ass.
All right.
You'll feel better that bye week than you do now.
I've got us 3-2. Just when you're feeling good about yourself, Clemson rolls into town with that pathetic offense, and you get your ass kicked because you can't get a first down. I don't think we can move the ball against Clemson. I think Mike's going to have to do some gimmicky nonsense with his offense. They'll easily shut it down. Clemson will win the game. I got us losing that one, and it'll make you mad because Cade Klubnik's not any good.
Yeah, I think so. Swiss Irish says in the chat, are these W's and L's accounting for DJU or Brock? I think
I've made some changes with personnel. I've made some changes.
I'm going with there's Wildcat. There's a whole bunch.
There's packages for certain players that we haven't seen yet. There's all this.
I think this game being in touch is dependent upon Clemson not kicking Klubnik down the road and telling him.
Oh, right. No, wait.
If they do that, it's big trouble.
Yeah. Well, it's big trouble anyhow.
I don't know that it is.
It is.
No, that thing is getting more toxic by the day. Dabo's losing his mind faster than the chat is as we're doing W's and L's and saying Florida State can win games. So
I got us losing the Clemson game. So at that point, we're 3-3.
It's an L.
Yeah.
But it's not an ass kicking.
I don't think we're going to move the ball. And I think they're just going to hand the ball off to the horse. And
13-6,
Okay. Well, either way, we both have them losing the game.
Yes, we do.
Florida State at Duke.
Win.
It's a night game.
This is where this is They don't have a track around the stadium anymore.
Wallace Wade's going to be electric.
They have that pit area. What do they call it? The Devil's Den? The
DJ. Well, my God, there you go.
Yeah.
More people
So,
doing the unthinkable.
It'll feel like home because we'll hear the DJ.
Mm.
Now, I think at this point, younger players are starting to get acclimated, and we're starting to love this team for what it is, flawed as it might be.
I don't know that anybody's going to love this team this year.
If it's Brock and Cam Davis and Elijah Moore and Lawayne McCoy and Otto and Simmons are on the line, you're going to start to like this team.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. You start going really young. Yeah.
There's Landon Thomas making a play. Ooh, Amari, what a catch.
Yeah, okay.
I know we only won 17-13, but I'm seeing signs. Okay. I'm seeing signs here.
All right. You got a W there. Me too. We're going to go down to Miami. They're going to be hell-bent to try to put a half 100 on us, if not more. Miami wins going away.
Closer than it should be, but a loss.
That's a big loss. Ass kicking. Unfortunate. What do I even have us now? I have us at 4-5.
You got 4 wins. I got 3.
Okay. We host North Carolina.
That's a win.
That's a win.
Elijah Moore, 7 catches.
Oh, big day for Elijah Moore, huh?
94 yards and a touch.
All right. Okay, so now we both now I've got us at 5 wins. We're about to be bowl eligible, except you go to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
That's a loss. That's not going to be very competitive.
I was impressed with the spirit we brought. We really did commit to up front.
9 guys. 9 guys were standing on that line of scrimmage, Tom. Yeah.
Yep. I thought we were pretty physical, actually.
But we lost.
Well, we got smoked.
Yeah, we got beat bad.
Yeah.
All right, so now Charleston Southern. This is a chance to get to be bowl eligible.
Nice. This is for us to be at the precipice of bowl eligible.
For you.
Yeah.
I get this win right here. Go ahead and get this win. And then we end against Florida, which is a toss-up because Lagway probably by then has been starting for weeks on end, and they don't have to worry about sorry-ass Mertz. I don't know. It's a tough game.
Mertz.
Tough game.
I foresee both quarterbacks playing for Florida in this game. I don't know why, but I see it clear as day. Clear as I see you through that window.
Okay, buddy. I don't, at this point, this is ugly. This looks a lot like the game it played last year.
We were down there. What was it,
buddy?
When Jimbo, was it Jimbo's last year and we won that game? I think it might have been.
Might have been.
Because we still had the one more to go, the makeup game.
Oh, yeah, the Delaware State.
And that game, you could see, it was just 2 awful teams, but they were more awful than us. I think we're running it back there. I know. It'll make you cough all over again because I was sick, too, watching it. Really. It got in there. Behind my rib cage. I was pissed just watching it.
We got to go to break anyhow. I'm going to go W.
W. You got 7 wins. They're going to get a 7-win season out of this.
I don't think they're going to win 7 games.
Let's go to the Pinstripe Bowl. Let's do Dublin, Chicago, and New York. All in
Swap
one
out one of those wins for an L and make it 6-6.
Yeah, 6-6. You'd feel actually okay about that.
I don't know where that came from, but now I've got this itch. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Drive-by shooting in West Tallahassee left 2 teens injured. 2 teens, 16 and a 17-year-old, were walking westbound on Jackson Bluff Road when they recalled a dark-colored vehicle traveling in the area before people in the vehicle began shooting at them. Both teens were taken to the hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. One was shot in the arm and one was shot in the foot. At this time, police said there are no suspects and no arrests have been made. The investigation remains ongoing. In the wake of the disastrous revelation of a state program that looked to put golf courses, pickleball courts, and more in state parks, the Florida Department of Environmental Protection fired the worker they said leaked the information. James Gaddis said he admitted to his role in leaking information about the state park plan. The plans have been suspended due to a huge amount of backlash. Governor DeSantis said he would do whatever the public wants, even if that means not changing anything with the parks. As for Gaddis, he felt it was a civic duty to notify the public about the plans and has since set up a GoFundMe. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by McLemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at McLemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Chance for storms this afternoon. Otherwise, cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun. Daytime highs approaching 89. Northeasterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Cloudy skies tonight. Slight chance of thunderstorms. Lows level off around 74. Chance for storms tomorrow. Highs level off around 85. Overcast skies. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, it's 81 degrees.
What do you need tires on? Your car or truck, tractor, or heavy equipment? At Nice Tire and Auto Service, we have tires for all of these needs. And we service your vehicle from air conditioning and computerized alignment to oil changes and everything else under the hood. Call Nice Tire and Auto today at 574-4100. That's 574-4100 for your scheduled maintenance. National accounts welcome at Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, just west of Capitol Circle.
Howdy, folks. Jeff Cameron here to tell you about my friends at DexaFit Tallahassee. What is DexaFit, you might ask? Well, it's where you want to go if you're looking to elevate your health and fitness journey. DexaFit's exclusive services include AI-enhanced body scans, VO2 max fit testing, and RMR metabolism analysis to provide detailed insights into your body composition, cardiovascular fitness, and metabolic well-being. Sounds like a lot of science, but that's because it is. The most advanced science available. In fact, that's a good thing, right? DexaFit gives you immediate detailed insights about your body composition, provides a customized plan to improve on troubled areas delivered in an easy-to-navigate mobile app so you can share the information with your trainer or even your doctor to find the most direct path to your peak health. Check out DexaFit Tallahassee, the most accurate and most state-of-the-art body composition scanning and fitness planning available. Located on Capitol Circle Northeast, directly next to Bumpus. Check them out online at DexaFit.com and tell them Jeff Cameron sent you. DexaFit Tallahassee. Know your body and transform your life.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Tomorrow's Redemption Thursday featuring a Baltimore-Kansas City game. Hey, now, here we go.
The NFL gave us a Friday game, too, this week.
They did. Green Bay and Philadelphia, Tom. That is going to be a fun one to watch for a lot of reasons, but in particular because we have nowhere to be on a Saturday. Yes. Yay, nowhere to be on a Saturday. We all could use a respite.
What you doing? Well, you're watching a home game for your son is playing a home game.
I will be. I'll be at my son's football game, which, by the way, might end in time for me to get over and maybe meet up with you and watch a little of this NFL game.
Okay. Optimus Climb says FSU needs some DexaFit right about now.
They do. They do. By the way, so this is going to be one of those years, we've had this happen before where, all of your football teams disappoint you. But it's easier for me to handle it. Like, for example, Leon's not very good at football right now. Their head coach, who won Coach of the Year last year after they won 6 games, left the program. And so they're kind of starting over. Sucks for them. I hate watching, watching my son lose. It's tough. But I just hope that he plays well and gets better, and you just go from there. I can handle it. It's high school football. It's whatever, right? But it hit me. They're going to lose, I think. Hopefully he's not listening. They're going to lose most of their games this year.
Or any other Leon parents.
Well, they know. If you're out there, you know what I'm talking about. They're not very good. But they're going to lose their games this year. Florida State's going to lose a bunch of games.
We've made it to that part of your evolution that you're going to rag on your kids' high school team's chances of winning football games.
I'm a realist. They're going to lose. I told Bryce this week they'd lose. Hey, I told him before they played Godby they'd lose by 100. The good news was they didn't, and Bryce scored. So that was cool.
Leon's coach, here you go. The dad of one of your players gives you bulletin board material. It's a 1 hour, 41-minute mark in about 20 seconds, so you can play that for your players before Friday's game.
Please do it. But yeah, you know what? I walked out of Gene Cox Stadium, which I still don't understand why we play at, and was happy because Bryce had a kick return and a 75-yard touchdown, and I was like, good for you. He had a couple catches, played well. Team wasn't good. It was a toughie, and it's going to be a long year. But I knew that was going to happen, and he appreciates that I'm a realist. I told him before he got up that morning when I made him breakfast, I said, son, you're going to need to eat a hearty meal because you're going to take an ass kicking tonight.
I was already hoping for the best for the young man. Now I hope he becomes a star at such a level
Bryce?
That he can go play college football to the point where you would be interviewed during the game as the star player's dad. And they'd say, so what do you think? Oh, I'm just so proud of my son. This team sucks. So, I'm here and in spirit for my son, but we're not covering today.
We're not going to win this game. I can tell you that. We're not going to win this game. I
play the opponent on the money line Tuesday. I got it at 16. You know what it's up to now? 23.
Yeah. No, he likes the fact that I am pragmatic like that. When we were talking that day, I was like, that's going to be a tough one. They could win this one though this weekend. They this Friday, they got a chance to win this one. So we'll see. Maybe he'll score again. That now my job as a dad is to be composed when he's doing well. Like that was his first ever high school touchdown last week, and it was a dramatic one. And then he had a couple other good plays, and so I'm an emotional wreck inside watching it play out. But I don't want to embarrass him, so I'm just stoic. Gave the old fist pump after the play.
Mm-hmm.
My wife's practically in tears, and I'm just like, he's doing well, babe. He's doing well. Let's not embarrass ourselves. It's all good.
Yeah. That's apparently my dad failed in one of my better moments in team sports when we had a playoff game when I was 13, 14 years old, and I scored 2 goals in the playoff game. It's hockey. And my mom said, your father, I've never seen him act like this before.
Yeah, he's practically in tears.
He's jumping up and down like he's 7, and we need to be better. And my dad's like, I wasn't doing that.
I was actually on his long touchdown. I actually just stood up and had my hands up. That's all I did. Just sat there like that and watched.
Like
him
Lane
run.
Kiffin on the first play.
Just watched him run. Just watched him run.
Loss of 2.
I was like,
Lane's just right there.
Ready to go. Yeah, so Baltimore and Kansas City Thursday, which they give us a great game right off the bat. Have you wrapped your head around the NFL yet? I mean, we had to lock in on
I
college
drafted
football
last night.
Yeah.
I got my one league. I've been in the league now. It's almost 25 years that I've been in this league. I was a freshman in high school when we started. And I now know what players are playing where. So that's good because I really paid no attention.
Good to have a handle on who's playing for whom.
Oh, my God. Saquon's an Eagle.
Yeah.
Who knew? I'm excited, though, for it. And I'm glad they're giving us a Friday game. Sometimes the NFL gives you too much.
Yeah.
But week 1, give me the Friday game. I'm all in on that.
Well, they also give us a hell of a Monday night football game potentially with the Jets going to San Francisco. Yeah. That is a fun game. Mm-hmm. We should meet out somewhere for that game. That's a doable game. This is how things turn into the heavy season.
Right.
It's like you got all the slate of college football on Saturday, which, listen, we have no responsibilities on Saturday for the first time this year. So we can get a little loose, maybe eat a little too much, have too much to drink.
I don't know what to speak.
It can happen. Next thing you know, Sunday, it's the return to the NFL, and you've got a few interesting matchups, but because it's the first weekend of the season, you're going to be pumped. Half the state of Florida is going to be drunk because it's Jacksonville at Miami right off the bat. So there's that. And, there's, again, a couple of other decent games. By the way, the Bucs play Washington.
Yeah, the 425 window. Of course. Sure.
Of course.
Why not?
Yeah.
Two East Coast teams.
Yeah. But then on Monday night, Jets-Niners. So it just keeps going is the point. It just keeps going. You'll wake up one day and it's Wednesday again the next week. You're like, what happened?
Give me the reps.
What happened?
I want the reps this year. Give me the reps. Good job. Good job, football.
Oh, man. Oh, got to get to the – didn't do it. Will right now. Jason writes, is it as simple as quarterback play? There are wide receivers open. Not every play, but enough to be impactful. And I can't imagine Norvell planned to run only twice in the first half. DJ had to check out of some of those runs. Jason, a couple things here. It's a fair question. It's a serious note. He has missed some wide open receivers. A couple of those are touchdowns and changes the game, changes the complexion of the game. But I also think checking out of those runs, a lot of that has to do with teams daring you to throw the ball. They're telling you, we don't think you can, so we're going to stack the box, and we don't trust your receivers or your quarterback because we don't think they'll get separation, and I'm not real sure he's accurate enough to throw it. So when DJ comes to the line with the run-pass option and he makes the decision to pass because the box is stacked, it's the right decision. He checked out of the – he's not checking into something that's wrong. Visually, that's what he should do. Now, you got to execute. And if you don't make them pay for doing that, they're going to keep doing it. 2 weeks in a row, teams have said, yeah, you don't have a passing game. We're not concerned with you. We're not concerned with these receivers, and we're not concerned with your quarterback. Somebody has to make them pay for doing that. Put people in that can. Golf franchise writes, is Norvell this year really Willie Taggart in disguise? No. Sean, was last year's defense smoke and mirrors? I believe the defense looked much better than it was due to the poor QBs that we played. What say you? I think it's a combination of things. It's fair to point out we played poor quarterbacks, but you could rightfully point out that many of the members of that defense from a year ago are in the NFL, on rosters, getting ready to play football on Sunday. They had NFL talent that helped mask some problems as well. And that includes 2 linebackers that I said were not great, but were good to decent. Deloach and Bethune, right? They made it.
Bethune did. I think Deloach got maybe practice
squad
by the Bucs.
Yeah,
but they were impressed with what he brought to the table.
It
So.
sounds about right, though. I mean, they're not elite players, but obviously by definition, if you make it to an NFL roster, you're a plus college player. Yeah.
Bethune making the 53 or 54, whatever it is now, is actually quite impressive.
I'm happy for both of them.
He's not fleet of foot compared to a lot of his compatriots.
And he's also old relative to a rookie player.
Yeah. I mean, for San Francisco, too. That's okay.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah. So, I mean, credit where credit's due, but Fisk and Verse obviously went very high. They're very good players. Obviously, we talked, but, listen, you had a corner, you had a safety, you had a nickel corner, you had some guys.
So one thing I'm working on for the site, and I hope to get it done in the next 24 hours. We'll see what day it releases over the bye weekend, or if it's sooner than later. But I'm going to look at every offensive play and take a this is, thankfully we for an exercise like this, thankfully, not as a fan. They ran 3 plays in the first quarter last week.
You're going to watch our offensive
Florida
plays.
State.
Yeah.
Florida State, all the offensive plays, taking a look at how many times they're in, 6, 7 man boxes, 8-man boxes,
All right,
the calls,
neutral
the RPOs,
boxes, light boxes,
the run
heavy
success.
boxes.
This is not like I'm not going to a service for it. Like I'm going to go look at every play and learn about, did we turn down runs when we didn't need to turn down runs? What's DJU doing at the RPO decision-making process? How effectively are we running the ball against a neutral front versus a stacked box? All those things. It's going to be an interesting deep dive. I wish it was interesting and fun. But there was points in the first half, for example, where I thought when we were moving the ball before halftime, getting on the other side, they're in a neutral front and you're calling passes. And then, I heard you guys talking about it yesterday. You're in goal to go twice and you call 6 passes in those situations.
Correct. Now, one of them's a touchdown.
And one of them is. And
I
the
mean,
other one's
it's
a
a
deflected
touchdown.
ball and it's a touchdown.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. But here's the deal. If you believed, as Mike Norvell did, that you're going to be defined by the run first and you're in goal to go, I don't care if it's from the 6.
Right.
You're calling runs because that's what you're supposed to be about. They've got a huge crisis on their hands identity-wise.
Yeah. Yeah. Crisis of identity, crisis of execution, certain areas, crisis of coaching. It's pathetic. It's very difficult to get through these shows.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either. I think we're done here, aren't we? Good work out of you, sir. Yeah. Tonight, Tom will be joined with Ira.
That's at 7 o'clock.
6 o'clock, Wake Up Warchant.
Yeah, back-to-back programs.
Buddy, if you guys want to commiserate for hours on end, you've got opportunities.
Group therapy for 2 hours tonight.
All day today. It's a glorious thing. Yes. Good work out of you. Be good, everybody. Peace.